Hello there, Reject Nation. I'm Greg Alba.
I'm John Humphrey.
We're gonna watch from new Rockstars, one of the best YouTube channels that have ever existed. Avengers Endgame Thanos Battle, new Easter eggs revealed. This came out like a week ago, and you just can't get enough of Endgame. Am I right?
Oh.
Am I right? But before we go into covering this video, I want to say another special thank you to the folks over at Perfect World Mobile for working with us this week.
That's right, guys. After more than a decade, the classic MMORPG is returning, and the best part is now you can play from anywhere.
Perfect World Mobile allows you to explore classic, beautiful 3D environments, create awesome custom characters, and engage in an array of unique and exhilarating battles and combat styles.
In short, it's everything you loved about Perfect World revamped to fit in the palm of your hand.
The game hit nearly 3 million downloads in its first 12 hours of release over in China, and the global English release is on its way. There's something for new fans and old fans alike, so be sure to hit up our special pre-registration link in the description box to sign up for Perfect World Mobile. And join the fight for the perfect world today, people!
Hi, I'm Eric Voss, and Avengers Endgame is now available digitally in places other than my tear-soaked memories, allowing nerds to actually rewatch this movie frame by frame. And if you're like me, and I am so sorry if that's the case, you probably directed your rewatch attention to that epic final battle. It is filled with interesting cameos, Easter eggs, callbacks.
I finally saw Howard the Duck in movement.
That's what was important. Let us rewatch the Endgame final battle for all the new details that we missed the first time. There's a lot of stuff. Hidden visual clues, interesting combat moves and assists, hidden layers of meaning. There's way more than I ever realized.
Oh yeah, that moves from Guardians too.
MCU past, and if I accidentally say something that happens in MCU future. Okay, starting in this final battle, notice when the MCU Trinity make their initial approach to Thanos as he waits for them in the rubble of Avengers HQ. Thanos holds a handful of stones, debris from the rubble. Now it's hard to get an accurate count of these because the camera cuts away from his hand when he starts to flick them to the ground. But it looks as though Thanos is holding 6 of those stones, as if he's visualizing holding all 6 Infinity Stones in his hand. Applying, I guess, that
I love how deep these guys reach sometimes.
Remember,
Sometimes they're 100% right.
Time before he conceived of a
That's how you
as a
get
way
that
to
way.
contain all 6 stones at once. Think about the timeline. E-Tree probably wouldn't have forged that for him until sometime between 2015 and 2017, depending on when you think that Age of Ultron post-credit scene took place, and whether the gauntlet in Odin's vault was indeed not legit. Okay, then the fight begins.
Probably not.
And right away, Thor proved he has learned from his past mistakes. His first strikes against Thanos with Mjolnir, and then again with Stormbreaker, both go for the head, just as he did in the opening.
Oh, interesting.
Blocks Iron Man and Thor's duel.
Interesting. That's cool.
Which some have interpreted as a nod, possibly to the Thanos copter. That was the goofy yellow helicopter that Thanos flew in a 1979 Spider-Man comic. It was turned into a toy by Mattel, and kind of a meme.
Woo.
Fans have been petitioning for it to appear in the MCU.
That needs to
This
come
apparently
in.
is the closest we'll get, and we
I
will
hope
see it.
that's a
Another
direct
interesting detail to
reference.
point out about this 3-on-1 fight is how it displays the relative strength between the Avengers. Like when Thanos hits Cap, Cap goes flying, but when Thanos hits Thor, a god, Thor takes a hit, but mostly absorbs it. Maybe it's all that insulation. Now, one of the more interesting moments we've been wondering about occurred right before the big Cap-wielding Mjolnir moment. Thanos is fighting Thor. Thor summons Stormbreaker, but Thanos intercepts it. He swings it upward and then pushes it closer and closer into Thor's chest. Now, this is a callback to Thor doing this to Thanos in Infinity War, but also it somewhat suggests that Thanos might be worthy of Stormbreaker
Yeah, I
and
was gonna
Mjolnir.
say.
Now, that's just a theory. I would say it's possible Thanos
Curious.
might be redirecting the battle axe's kinetic energy just a bit, rather than, like, lifting it. Also, we should say that most
I
of the
never
deeds that
thought
Thanos
of
commits
that.
prove his worth, so to speak, applied to the Thanos of Infinity War, the 2018 Thanos, not this Thanos, who is younger, from 2014, and less of an eco-terrorist seeking balance than a straight-up genocidal fatalist seeking to burn everything. So even if there is a version of Thanos who is worthy, I don't think this moment proves this Thanos to be so. Meanwhile, just to be clear, Cap lifting Mjolnir was intended to establish him as always worthy. When Thor says, "I knew it," it's a deliberate callback to Age of Ultron when Cap
That
tried
is
to lift
such
the
a
hammer
great
and
line.
Yeah.
The director
Such a great
confirmed
moment.
that
So
Cap,
rewarding.
in that moment, knew he could lift Mjolnir if he wanted, but he decided to spare Thor's pride. Cap shows off his mastery with Mjolnir when he tosses his shield past Thanos, and then deflects Mjolnir off his own shield, creating a shockwave that knocks Thanos to his feet. Cap is recreating that team-up move that he and Thor did at the beginning of Age of Ultron.
Oh, cool. I did not do. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Delivers a vicious volley in response response, it's almost as if his helmet was getting in his way, so he removed it for round 2 of this boxing match. And when Cap tries to hit Thanos again with Mjolnir, Thanos grabs Cap's wrist, not Mjolnir's handle or Mjolnir itself. Perhaps this is another clue pointing to Thanos not being worthy. Cap gets knocked to the ground, shield split in half. The imagery of Cap defeated like this evokes Tony's nightmare vision in Age of Ultron.
Yes.
For Tony, think about it. This darkest moment shows that nightmare coming true. Natasha's death, the return of Leviathans. The directors are returning to that imagery to make us feel complete despair here. Now, while all this is going on underground, a few
we knew that
interesting
already.
new details emerge as the other
Wait, I
Avengers
wasn't
get
supposed to
their
feel
bearings in the
despair
rubble. Ant-Man radios to Hulk, Rhodey, and Rocket behind Scott. Is
Shield
actually Rhodey's new red-lined War Machine armor. Rhodey shows up wearing this later in the battle, but here they establish how Scott was able to get Rhodey in this new armor so quickly. And when
Ooh,
Hawkeye's getting
clever.
stalked by the crawling Outriders in the tunnel, he fires an arrow that lights up the tunnel, reveals them. It's a bit of a nod to that shot in Aliens, which is a favorite of the Russos that got referenced in Infinity War, when Hicks shines a light into the darkness and dozens of
Oh, how
things
neat.
in the-
Yeah, I can see that. That's
Climactic
cool.
turning
That's
point
really
when
cool.
Doctor Strange and the Sorcerer's
Oh, that's awesome.
A cool way to
from across the
adapt
universe,
it.
including the Ravagers and Howard the Duck. Actually, Kraglin with Yondu's Yaka arrow headpiece was supposed to be among them, but removed from the film. And the portal through which the Ravagers and Howard the Duck arrive, if you look closely at that background, is Contraxia. That's the snow-covered planet that they were all hanging out in Guardians Volume 2.
Oh, cool.
Now, during this charge, it's kind of fun to figure out what Spider-Man is swinging from. Initially, he gets an assist from Scott's giant hand. Very cool.
Oh, hey.
But later, in the wide overhead shot, Peter's just kind of floating on nothing in the front line. Maybe the clouds or invisible helicopters from that Spider-Man PS2 game. No, if you look closely, he might be swinging from Falcon or part of Thanos' fleet. And then lots of fun moves appear in that initial collision between the lines. Cap underhand throws Mjolnir into Cull Obsidian. Thor lightning plows a group. Scott Lang punches a Leviathan. Drax jumps on Cull Obsidian from behind and stabs his shoulders with his daggers. He's doing this to free Korg from a headlock. Shortly after this, there's another move that I missed before. As Cap and Thor trade Stormbreaker and Mjolnir, behind them, Mantis brings down the Beast by putting it in a
Oh,
tree.
whoa.
There are a bunch of other moments.
Oh, wow.
Before, like Stark and Peter Parker finally getting that hug that Peter wanted in Spider-Man Homecoming. Stark had denied him, saying, "We're not there yet." Now they are. Also, Falcon stabs someone with his wingtips. So cool. And Hope Van Dyne radios to Cap.
We're on it, Cap.
The knowing look that Scott gives her is a callback to that scene in Ant-Man and the Wasp. when
Call him
Hope
Cap.
mocked him for this.
It was a matter of national security that Cap needed help soon.
Captain America, Captain. Cap. It's what we call him.
But some new details have emerged here. The filmmakers have said after the movie came out that they intended more reunion moments between characters in this final battle and had to cut them for time. And you can actually see a glimpse of one right behind Scott and Hope here. Groot extends
Oh,
his branches
hey.
up to slam down an enemy.
Little
who's coming
rocket.
up
Oh, how
with a
cool.
rocket. Now later, we see how Rocket returns the favor by covering Groot when Thanos rains fire on the battlefield. There's also a kind of hilarious visible continuity error here. Scott and Hope go into the quantum tunnel van trying to jumpstart it, but shortly after this, Giant Scott is visible in the background shoving a Leviathan into a portal, and then after that shot, Scott and Hope are back in the van, normal size.
Ah, good.
Taking a break from jumpstarting the van.
Easter egg continuity issues?
Whoopsie.
Normal size to continue jumpstarting the van, or this is all just a montage and some stuff is out of chronological sequence, or we'll just have to consider that the most profitable film of all time screwed something up. It is possible. Don't get me started about those damn pin particles. Cap gives Spider-Man an assist with Mjolnir as something to hijack from, and he calls him Queens. A callback to their exchange in Civil War.
You got hard, kid. Where you from?
Queens.
Brooklyn.
And during the final charge with the female heroes, Okoye is the one to impale Corvus Glaive, perhaps giving her some closure after Corvus killed many of the Dora Milaje guards in the Battle of Wakanda. And during Thanos' melee with Captain Marvel, Thanos rips the Power Stone out of the gauntlet and punches her with it. The purple energy consumes his hand and arm, just like it did with Peter Quill and the others in the first Guardians movie. But unlike those others, Thanos is strong enough to wield the stone in his bare hand alone. And then the moment our hearts stopped, Thanos nearly snaps. But listen closely to the music. That music sting there is actually the same music that we heard all the way back in the first Avengers, the similarly heart-stopping moment that Iron Man flew the nuke through the portal.
A monster.
Oh, that is so cool.
To bring us back to that feeling of nearly losing everything, but saved at the last second by Papa Tony. Thanos' forces dust away.
That is so
creepy,
freaking
parallel
cool.
to the tragic ending of Infinity War. Like a Leviathan dusts away right as it chomps down on Rocket, and it releases a haunting scream. And I've pointed this out before, but the way each of Thanos' Black Order dusts away reflects some of the Avengers dust moments. Ebony Maw dusts as he limps up to Thanos, clutching his chest, just as Peter Parker did on Titan. And Proxima Midnight dusts away with husband Corvus Glaive in her arms, posed
Like Vision
the
and
exact
Wanda.
same way Scarlet Witch was with Vision in Wakanda. Just kidding, I feel nothing. Thanos, meanwhile, is left empty gauntleted, returning him back to his empty gauntlet status from that Age of Ultron post-credit scene that started his whole stone quest. And his final breaths are shown in the exact same camera movement as his final shot in Infinity War, dollying around the Mad Titan as he limps, sits, and reflects. Now, there is one more possible Easter egg that a lot of people have been talking about showing up in Peter Parker's high school in the closing montage. There is a girl with short blonde hair, a pink backpack, and a web pattern on her skirt, which many are saying could be Gwen Stacy. Now, Marvel has not confirmed this, and they probably will never, because Gwen Stacy is technically a Sony property, and any appearance of the character
Oh,
in
whoa,
DC
that
would
is...
be a huge
Yeah, that's pretty cool, actually. Yeah, that's a cool one to ponder.
Friends at Peter Parker's high school, whom we can just call Gwen Stacy, don't call Sony. Comment down below with your favorite new detail that you spotted from your Avengers Endgame rewatch that I know you definitely did. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at EAVOS and subscribe to new Rockstars with breakdowns and theories about everything Marvel. Thank you for joining me, and now there's just the first 2 hours of this movie to rewatch frame by frame. Kill me.
Oh, that's great. Guys, make sure to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to New Rockstars, you gotta do that. These guys are...
They are the new Rockstars.
I don't know how big their team is, but damn, they clearly...
They do their
They
research.
do a lot of research.
And more than their
Can't
research.
imagine going frame by frame through that whole film. I mean, sometimes with these breakdown videos, and you know, whenever we have like a huge new trailer out lately, we've been doing like breakdowns for it,
Scouring those frames.
Yeah, you really do go frame by frame, trying to get whatever you can from it, trying to just keep up with new Rockstars apparently, or Grace Randolph, whichever one.
I actually really like this trailer.
You do end up like reaching really deep to try to find something where you're like, I'm not sure if this is meant intentional. Is this a tribute or is this an actual thing? Point it out anyway. So you got like these two here. You got the 6 stones that they're talking about at the very beginning, but then you also have the potential Gwen Stacy nod. Like the 6 stones thing,
I think is a reach.
I feel like it's a bit of a reach.
Yeah.
Yes, it could be though.
I think the thing about making this kind of video in general is you're gonna find definite Easter eggs, but since you're looking so hard for them, you're gonna just make some yourself.
Yeah, but the Gwen Stacy one.
The Gwen
though,
Stacy one.
That seems very possible.
The
That-
skirt especially seems like that makes it intentional.
That's way more believable to me than when Kevin Feige was like, yeah, the little boy from Iron Man 2 was Spider-Man.
That's
yeah.
that's an opportunity taken.
Yeah, that one felt like, yeah, sure, we can say that. It fits. It
Theoretically, that checks out.
goes timeline-wise. Yeah, why not? But the Gwen Stacy one, like the design with the backpack, the blonde hair, but then even like the spider web type
Skirt,
of
yeah.
skirt.
That's what
If
sold
they
it
came
for me.
out and said it, I would go, yeah, I totally believe that was an intentional thing on the production design. Whether that means a foreshadowing or just a nod.
Or just, something
Yeah,
cheeky.
I would totally buy that. So I think that's really cool. My biggest takeaway is the Thanos copter.
We were robbed.
We were robbed.
We
with the
were
Thanos
robbed.
copter. There's got to be something, just a little nugget of an Easter egg in a future production design of a movie where you see the Thanos copter.
There's
in the
gotta be
background.
there's a Marvel one take where after he says I'll do it myself and puts on the gauntlet, he gets in the copter and then flies to where Corvus Glaive is to assemble the team.
They brought up an interesting point that, from the sound of it, that other people have already addressed that I never thought about. Thanos does grab Stormbreaker. I know the rules of Mjolnir were a lot more established since Thor 1 of being worthy, and it seemed to have such a much longer history and lineage. Stormbreaker was just created.
Yeah, like-
well, 5 years
20
ago.
minutes
It was great, 5 years ago, you know? But in terms of its existence, it's not very long.
Yeah, and we don't know the exact rules as compared to Mjolnir. We just know that
Yeah.
they were forged in a similar place, right?
They're forged from the from the dwarves,
Yeah.
or the dwarf.
The dwarf with the star
Dwarf.
juice.
Yeah. I don't know if like how the Mjolnir rules were. Was it like blessed by gods or something like that to be worthy? I'm sure there's an answer to this. So I never read into it, but that would be an interesting theory, because to me it just did seem like a moment where he just grabbed a weapon. The thing he was talking about, Eric, I call him Eric, we're best friends.
Oh, yeah.
We text each other, send each other dick pics, you know how it goes. He's talking about how he just wielded the kinetic energy, but I'm I'm like, no, that wouldn't even work with Mjolnir. He's either worthy or Stormbreaker rules are not not the same.
Yeah, or there's a plot hole in this film.
They did not. Yeah, all the crazy production design details in there, and then they completely forgot about that.
Yeah, well, the fact that they point out later on that he grabs Cap's hand when Mjolnir is in his hand, and they make a point out of that, suggests to me that maybe just the rules of Stormbreaker are slightly different.
I mean, I liked a lot of these nods, like the Shockwave team up move. That there was a nod back to Age of Ultron. So fast when you're watching it.
Those are honestly, especially with Endgame, and not every superhero movie gets to be Endgame, obviously, but that's been my favorite kind of Easter egg for this is, like the Shockwave team-up little move they do, or even the music cue coming back at the very end to mirror the first Avengers.
As a movie fan, just like beyond comics or whatever, like those kind of nods, creating this to be the bookend to the Infinity Saga, how Thanos' first appearance and Tony Stark's departure from the MCU, having that musical nod, which I definitely did not pick up on.
Yeah.
To me, that's probably my favorite thing out of this whole breakdown.
Oh, yeah,
to have learned that to me, that's the coolest thing they could have offered in this video.
Yeah, it like further enhances that place and time of it all, because then you think way back and you go, oh yeah, that's right, that specific moment.
Yeah.
And I also love too the way, I mean, there were some I noticed in the film, like the way that the camera is the same motion around Thanos at the end as he's watching the opposite version of his plan play out, but also the stuff with his cohorts coming up similar and dusting in ways that the Avengers.
Well, I mean, you got like Corvus Glaive way in the and Approximate Midnight way in the back. I never noticed that, but it seems like a cool nod. It seems like pretty intentional on what they were doing there for that moment to mirror the WandaVision moment. They were talking about the reunion stuff, and I'm glad it wasn't just a montage of a bunch of reunions.
I think we should have had a 4-hour cut where there was just every single idea they had.
Reunion upon reunion. I do kind of wish it's cool to slow it down and be like, hey, they're in the background, Rocket Raccoon and Groot. It doesn't look like a reunion moment to me, though. The way they stated here sounds like they were implying it was a reunion moment, but it looks like they were already
a moment in the battle.
It looked like they were already reunited and they were fighting.
Yeah, it looks like Groot looked over and was like, oh crap, I gotta go save him.
With the amount of father-son relationship that has been established throughout Guardians of the Galaxy, that Rocket is one of the main characters in Endgame, that was such a heartbreaking moment with Groot dying in Infinity War, and the Russo brothers, or the Russo brothers or the writers, Marcus Mephilia, they said he was saying dad in that moment. To him, which is really heartbreaking.
That's right,
personally, I would have gone for an extra 30 seconds to see them reunite in some way, Because,
for sure.
Yeah,
because they are they are one of the most beloved duos, especially after the post first wave Marvel characters, And
I'm so happy they pointed out this moment with Mantis in the background, because I've heard so many jokes about what would Mantis even do in a fight? What would Mantis do in battle? Well, clearly they thought of it and they put it in the movie themselves. I am super, super glad this footage was captured here. Thank you to Rockstars for doing that. I do love this Ant-Man continuity error.
I do too.
I love a good continuity error.
That's just impossible to smooth over.
That's not an Easter egg, but I'm like, oh, that's definitely a thing that they probably were like, we just have to use the shot.
Like, most people probably won't even notice.
I wonder if they noticed, though.
It's possible that they might not have. I mean,
Game of Thrones people forgot Starbucks cup and water bottle, so I'm sure it's easy in the midst of this giant editing session that you're like, oh, we probably should have CGI'd out Ant-Man there,
Oh, yeah, well, and I mean, as much as we all scour these frames, I'm sure these guys have seen them so much that at a certain point you might be looking at one thing and tweaking that one thing and completely miss something across the frame that doesn't make that much sense.
Spider-Man swinging on nothing.
That's like a classic Spider-Man quip.
To me, I was like, that could either just be an error, but that's such a classic Spider-Man thing of like, what's he swinging on? I remember watching the 90s cartoon and that being like a little trivia question they were playing commercial ads.
Really?
Where he's just swinging through New York, but he's clearly not like connecting his webs to buildings, because you have to go like left to right, not up. To me, I'm like, oh, it could be an error, or it could be an intentional Easter egg. It's so far away,
It could be one of those kooky things. It's like, well, this is a super wide anyway, and plus, it's always been a part of Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like they can get away with that. Well, this was great. Which one was your favorite Easter egg that you learned in this video? Thank you, new Rockstars, for putting this together. This is so good. I freaking love that game. Easily my favorite movie of the year. Guys, you can subscribe to The Real Rejects. Please click that notification bell to get notified whenever we have a video up. You can check us out on Patreon. We do weekly Q&As, TV show reactions. Several of those shows have reaction highlights included. John does music video coverage weekly. And I would like to give a Patron of the Day shout to someone very special. I don't know this man's real name. It's X Self-Loathing X, as pitched on Patreon for us. We gave him a shout out on one of our Stranger Things reactions. We were binge recording that, and I put out a post on Patreon saying, all right, people who are qualified for a shout out reward tier, comment if you're watching Stranger Things and we'll give you a shout out. He commented. He was a brand new patron. You know, we like to give these very personalized shout outs, even though I had no idea anything about him other than his name. Literally know nothing about him. I don't even know if it's a him for sure. It could be a woman for all I know.
Anyone's capable of self-loathing.
Right. We just gave a shout out based off of you know, his name.
The concept of self-loathing.
Yeah, it was a poking fun. Some might call mean-spirited, but you know, we're just being sarcastic. We're just goofing around. We literally mean nothing personal because we know jack about you. But we saw that you took offense to it. I apologize for offending you. I'm only apologizing as you're a patron. If you were just a subscriber.
Double down.
Double down.
This would be a totally different
triple
shout.
the insults.
Oh, yeah.
Now that I have some information about him, I'd like to share it. Here, this is from him. My occupation is loathing, and what have I been up to lately? Loathing is a lot of work, so I've been very busy with that.
There's an A in loathing.
Well, we can't make fun of him.
Oh, that's right. This is it's a name though, so it's spelled name style.
So you'll get offended.
Well, you know, I'm glad that you're here, and I hope that you're not busy loathing 24 hours a day. I hope that you've got at least a couple hours to yourself to appreciate just how wonderful you are and how wonderful your pledge makes us feel, because despite that first shout out, clearly you care enough to be here still.
For
And,
a second month.
So maybe that's evidence of the self-loathing, because maybe it's reverse psychology. Maybe we should double down because that'll make self-loathing feel out. See, what do you want? That's what I want to know. What do you want from us? Specifically.
He got another YouTuber to cross-dress by accident once, but that's a whole other story.
You can get me to cross-dress on purpose.